Hey, today we're making apple pie. In a large bowl, you're going to put 5 cups of apples, chopped up into smaller pieces. This is a chart I use to decide how much fruit, how much sugar, and how much flour to put in a pie. It's an excellent little chart, so pause it here if you want to read it. For the apple pie, it's 5 cups of flour, 1/2 cup to 1 cup of sugar, depending on how tart the apples are, some cinnamon to taste, and a tablespoon or less of flour in apple pie. As you can see, there's different amounts of flour, sugar, and fruit depending on what kind of pie you want to make. This is a really good chart I found in a recipe book. So for this particular recipe, I'm going to put about a cup of sugar, partly because there's a few tart apples in that mix, and my husband likes to have it to be on the sweeter side. And I'm putting in a couple of teaspoons of cinnamon in here, and about a tablespoon of flour. And then stir that all together until each of the apple pieces is coated with sugar and cinnamon and flour. And then roll out your dough, the pastry. I have a recipe for this pastry at the beginning of my butter tart video if you want to look that up. I use a pastry cloth and a rolling pin cover here, as you can see. These are really handy. They work extremely well, and you hardly have to add any flour at all to it. So you're going to put the bottom pastry in the pie tin, add the fruit. I probably could have used another maybe cup of apples in here. It's a little bit thin. Now for the top of the pie, I'm doing something a little bit different. Normally you would just roll it out like this. You put it over top, crimp the edges, and put a couple little holes in the top to let some steam out. But a friend of mine bought me these little leaf cutters, these little leaf cutout cookie cutters. They're from Williams Sonoma. They're very well made, and I wanted to give them a try. So you can see there's like a spring-loaded mechanism that you can cut, and then if the piece gets stuck in there, you can push it out, and it imprints a little shape on the top of the cookie at the same time. So I've chose, I guess it looks like an oak leaf, I guess. So you just push down, cut it out, press it down, and you get the shape. And if it sticks inside the cutter, like so, you can just push it out. So they're very handy. And the lady that bought these for me was Papa Rock 46, who is Rock. Now take a 1 beaten egg, and you're just going to take a pastry brush and just brush the edges of the dough. And what this does, it just makes everything adhere nicely to it. And then I'm just going to place the little pastry leaves that I cut out over top of the pie. And I'm overlapping these slightly and going all the way around. You can, if you want to, you don't have to use so many of them. You could put them sparsely so it makes like kind of like a lace top, if you know what I mean. And in between layers, I just put a little bit more egg wash just so that they stick together. Now, in retrospect, after I made this, I realized I probably should have rolled out the top dough a little bit thinner because I found the top crust on this to be a bit heavy, and I wouldn't have overlapped the leaves quite as much, but it still turned out quite well. Okay, then take the pie and put it in a 375-degree oven for about 15 minutes, and then turn the oven down to 350 and continue to bake it for about 45 to 50 minutes, depending on the thickness of the pie. Now what will happen is the crust will get a nice even golden brown all over, and the interior of the pie will get bubbly. The filling will be bubbly, and it may actually start to come out from between the crust and through any little holes in the top of the pie crust. This is one of the ways you know that your pie is done. In fact, you may want to put some tin foil underneath it to catch any of the drips. Baking a pie is something you'll learn with trial and error and experience, and it's one of the harder things that you can bake. But here you go, apple pie. And thank you, Rock, for buying me the cutters. I really like them.